Welcome back to the TeamDCU Podcast, the podcast where you can learn about the DCU experience from current students. My name is Sinead McCrohan, and today I'm joined by Alice Jack, who is a second year student of the Bachelor of Arts Joint Honours Law course. Alice, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for getting the mouthful.
No problem. Yeah, we just said it's a long enough course name, but we got through it.
In the end.
How are you keeping?
Good, yeah. Really nice studio you have here.
It is. It's fab. We're very lucky nice to have these lovely comms facilities in DCU.
Absolutely.
So I can't wait to talk to you more about the course that you're studying, college life, what you're involved in, what you love the most. But let's take yourself back to sixth year, Alice. How did you stumble across this course?
I was one of those people who had a plan for like a very overachieving little child who was like, I know what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a primary school teacher.
Love it.
From the age of 3 until I was about 15.
Wow.
And it was a big shock, but I was like, I don't think I want to be a teacher. And everyone was like, oh, so what are you going to do instead? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Might be a scientist.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Back to square one.
But it was actually what got me to this course was it was my work experience in TY. I was very lucky and very blessed that I got to work in Dublin Airport in the Department of Justice and Equality with the Immigration Services.
Wow.
Because my uncle works there, so nepotism.
Yeah.
But I spent 2 weeks there and I was fascinated by it. I was absolutely fascinated by everything that they did there and how, like, obviously they have a hard job and they do a lot of things that not a lot of people would agree with, but they actually help a lot of people and they save people. And my uncle Jimmy, I'm going to mention him a lot when I talk about this course. I used to want to be him when I was little as well because he speaks languages and he did his law degree through French. So I went on the hunt for something to do with French. I knew I definitely wanted to do French because I have a lot of my family speak it and I was getting teased because I can't hold the conversations and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure a lot of people know that. But I found this course, law and French, and I was like, hold on a minute. This is like exactly like the crossroads, like the junction of what I'm looking for. Yeah. I was completely unaware of it until I think 5th year. And I was kind of toying. I was like, oh, like really, will I do it? Will I, won't I? And then the CAO was coming around and I was the last person to fill out the CAO in the class. The guidance counsellor was
making them sweat, I'm sure.
Yeah, she was sweating quite a bit. She was like, listen, you gotta put something down. I was like, oh, just put that one down. I was like, I can change my mind, just put it down and I'll leave it. And I didn't actually end up, I changed my course order once, and that was to move my 5th choice to the bottom.
Okay.
And that was it.
So this remained the top choice.
Oh, the 6th year was in my top. It was my first choice, and I'm very lucky I got my first choice.
Yes.
And it's here, and oh god, it's great.
Yeah. So you did all that all through the CAO and the Leaving Cert, and you got into DCU. Yeah. Had you an idea about DCU before you got here?
I absolutely did. Well, I mean, I grew up down the street. Okay. I came here on walks with my grandmother. Right. And I'd always be like, wow, like these people are so old, they're so big, and they're so like smart, and like
they've got it all together.
They have their lives together. I know they really didn't have their lives together. I swear. But I've had family who've come here. Yeah. My cousin's going here right now. Like, so there was no other option for me other than DCU because it was so close and I knew it so well and I actually love it so much. Like, it's just, it's my favourite place.
Yeah, a lot of students describe that for any university. It's when you go to an open day or when you go for a walk around the campus, you just know, which I think is really nice. And that's what we'd recommend for prospective students.
Absolutely,
visit these places. It's where you're going to spend at least 3 or 4 years of your life. And you would hate to put something on your CAO and go there and then not love the place. So it's great that you had that kind of, it was around you growing up. It was the same for myself. I just kind of, it felt right to go to DCU. So if someone's interested in the Bachelor of Arts Joint Honours, so you study 2 subjects basically. So you're doing law and French. Is that time split 50-50 between those 2 subjects?
Absolutely. So basically people always ask me, whenever they ask me about the course, they're like, listen, is it law with French or is it law and French, because the width is a very key word when it comes to getting on your diploma. It's, you know, very key. So it is absolutely completely split down the middle. You'll do the same amount of law classes and the same amount of French classes. So how it was split for me is I did 3 law classes in semester 1 and then 2 French classes in semester 1. And now I'm doing 3 French classes and 2 law classes in semester 2. So it's a very even split down the middle, and you get credits. I know it's a bit crazy. You need 60 credits. You do 30 law credits and 30 French credits. So it's literally smack bang down the middle, you're sorted.
Yeah,
so you're qualified in both by the end.
Exactly.
Which is lethal.
Yeah. So first and second year, I'd imagine, are general enough. You are learning, probably you're going from kind of intermediate level of French with knowledge of law as well. So any cool modules that you've done that you didn't even think you'd cover? Cool
modules. Okay. So in first year, like, you need your basis and you need to like kind of figure out, you know, the ins and outs. So for law, you start at the beginning. Yeah. You start at the very beginning, and they're like, they literally ask you, what is law? And I'm like,
it's a good question.
It is a good question. I'm like, what is it? I had a really great module in French last year, which I had the best lecturer. It's the lecturers for me. If the lecturers are great, you really feel like you can do the content.
Makes all the difference.
It makes all the difference. And it was my literature and society class for French. And I was like, this is going to be the most boring thing I've ever sat through in my life. I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's going to be a disaster. My favourite class. Yeah. Because he made it so fun. He made it really interactive, and there was lots of discussion and like learning about things I didn't even know existed, like the graffiti movement of May 1968 and how Parisian students actually created graffiti. I was like, oh my God. Like, did I need
learn
to
that? Did even cert? Yeah.
You absolutely didn't. And like constitutional law last year as well. That was crazy. I was like, wow, this is like hard hitting stuff. Yeah. And then like moot court this year, I feel like that's a very defining class for a lot of law students. Yeah. Because you get to go into the moot court room. Yeah. That's here. It's you feel like you're in an actual courtroom, and you walk in and you're like, oh my God, have I done something wrong? Like, am I in trouble?
So that's a facility that we have for our law students, because I think something key about DCU is producing very practical graduates who have a great base in knowledge and theory, but also actually going out and doing as well. So the fact that you can practice being in a court is huge, because it's how amazing. Intimidating would it be to go into a real court for the first time?
Exactly. Like, I've said it to so many people, I would rather be intimidated by something now than walk in on my first day as in an actual job and be like, oh my God, what's going on? Exactly. But it was such really incredible experience. Like, I didn't feel like I was in a class at all. I felt like I was actually working with the content we were doing and how we had to think and present ourselves. Like, taught you the ethics of work, of being in a courtroom. Like, where it's not like America here. I'm sorry, you're not going to pull an Annalise Keaton and walk out with your evidence bag in the middle of the session. It's very much like, okay, please don't call them Your Honor. It's like calling the judge mom or dad here. Yeah. Like, just call them judge. Yeah. Like, if you're fine. And it was great for my confidence as well. Because I come off as very like chatty, bravado-y person, but once you walk in that moot courtroom, you're like, oh, swallow me whole, let the ground open. But it was really great for a lot of my friends who wouldn't necessarily have maybe the chattiness. They'd be a bit shy or something. I've seen so many of my friends just like come out of their shells, and I'm like, oh my God, like it's just incredible. Like, you're learning practicality, but you're also actually learning about yourself.
Yeah, and you build confidence and experience, which is invaluable for the real world. Absolutely. So first and second year, you've got your basics, you've been in the moot court, you're learning the language, if that's what you choose to do. So third year is an optional internship if you want to do it. So do you know people doing it? Are you planning to do an INTRA?
Yeah, so I'm planning to do an INTRA. But a lot of my friends are planning to do Erasmus. Like, it's a very 50-50 split, I feel, and especially with now, like, COVID's over, people are more inclined to be like, I'm going to go for the Erasmus. Yeah. Like my friend, he's gonna listen to this and he's gonna tell me he's gonna give it out to me. He's never been to France and he's studying French,
right?
And he's like, yeah, I'm just doing the Erasmus so I can go to France and like actually go and see it,
and
experience it. Like it is an experience. I know a lot of people who have done it. Now, I'm choosing not to do it because I kind of lean more towards the law side of things.
Yeah,
but I have friends who have done it and they said it was an incredible experience. Like they're in a different country and they get to go to all these places and meet all these people. I've actually got friends who are here on their Erasmus and they're like, oh my god, this place is great. Exactly. You know, so I feel like you can do INTRA or you can do Erasmus. Like they're two very different sides of the scale, but it's like, okay, you might not want to go out and work just yet. You might want to travel.
You have the choice.
And I feel like that's what's great about this course. You get offered that choice. And that was like a defining thing for me when I was like, is this actually going to be for me? Yeah. Like, does it offer the INTRA? Does it offer the Erasmus? And I know a lot of people are probably at home being like, I don't know what one I want to do. Like, you have time.
You've loads of time.
So much time.
And you could change your mind as well. You could go into the course thinking exactly what you want to do and you want to go down this route, and then all of a sudden you're learning about something different which interests you more. Yeah. So I would say don't make those decisions just yet. Be because flexible.
I was one of those people who was like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to do the Erasmus. I'm going to do this, that and the other. And I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking. That was a disastrous decision.
Exactly.
But, you know, I feel like especially like in the college experience, like it's all about evolving. You're learning new things and you're evolving in your thought process. And like the person I was starting first year had a different idea what she wanted to do, and now I'm halfway through my second year and that idea is completely different. And like with the experiences you have, like with your learning experiences and the chats you have with your lecturers, I've had some great discussions with lecturers that have been like, oh yeah, you should try and like, you know, research this topic, it really interests you. And I'm like, it actually does.
Yeah, I'd never even thought of that myself.
Absolutely.
Lots of room for growth and change, I would say.
Absolutely.
And then final year, can you specialise in an area or just continue learning?
With joint honours, because you're doing the 30-30 credit split, you don't get to specialise. But I don't mind that one bit because you're completely qualified in two disciplines. Yeah. Like you're qualified in law and you're qualified in, I'm saying French for me because that's what I do, but you could be qualified in German, Spanish, media or history. I've loads of friends doing history.
Yeah, lots of different combinations.
Yeah, there's so many different combinations, which is why I loved it. I was like, oh, I can pick and choose. Great. And I feel like the specialising might throw a couple people off a little bit.
Yeah, not necessarily.
But I think the joint honours is a fantastic course for someone like me who is very indecisive. Because I was like, do I want law? Do I want French? Like, I can't decide.
Yeah, and you can marry the two.
Here's both. And I'm like, okay, perfect.
Exactly. And since you're loving the law side of things, is that maybe the plan for when you leave college? And again, this could change in the next month or the next year. But at the moment, lots of different routes you can go down after the course.
So many different routes. Like you can do... I know a lot of people would come in wanting to be solicitors. I think you have to do like a couple of extra classes or something, and then you can go do your FE1 exams, the qualification exams in King's Inn. There are so many options for you to do with a degree like this. Like I can go straight into working into the civil service in the Justice Department. I can go and work as a translator, like an interpreter. I can work in PR with this as well. You wouldn't think it, but you don't realise how many people actually need a French translator to work with them. Yeah. Do you know, like you can be personal translators. Like there's just so many options. You wouldn't believe. Like I thought I was very set with the career choices I would have. But from talking to lecturers and talking about their experiences, I've realised there's like, the world is literally your oyster. It's like you can do whatever you want.
And even within DCU, there are so many opportunities. I'm imagining this course gives you the opportunity to take part in clubs and societies outside of lecture hours.
Absolutely. If anyone who knows me, I know people at home will watch this who know me and they'll be like, clubs and societies, that's her. I got very involved last year in clubs and societies. I still am, but I did it as a way to make friends to begin with. Like, I had very lucky, I'd already gotten a great group of friends started in my course. But I was like, I can't just have friends in my course. I want to know as many people as I can who are learning different things to me and all that sort of stuff. And so I made the conscious decision that I was going to be on 3 committees last year.
3?
Yeah.
Grand.
Still am on 3.
Wow. And what are they?
So I am on the Baking Society Committee. I'm chairwoman. I am doing Her Campus DCU, which another student ambassador, Emma, would have talked about.
And just to cut to that, that's a newspaper for...
It's an online magazine.
Online magazine.
Yeah, which is a fantastic opportunity for people. And I'm also in the Glee Society, which is kind of like, she's studying law and French, but does nothing in clubs and societies to do with law and French.
Sure, you're covering that in the academic side of things.
And that's why I chose societies that were so different from my course, because I feel like obviously if you want to go into law society or ELSA or FLAC or anything like that, or the French Society, absolutely do it. It's a great way to get to meet like-minded people and to discuss the things you like to discuss and things like that. For me, if I did something like that, I would just never stop. And I was like, you need to separate your work and your play. Exactly. So that's why I chose so many societies that were so different, because it means, because I love bacon. I like eating cakes. I didn't think I would like journalism, but I really like journalism.
There's so many
and
things.
I love music, and I love singing and dancing and making a fool of myself. So that way I cover like so many other things. And I've learned so much outside of my course from them. So.
And time to sleep and eat and drink, I hope?
Barely.
Fit it in where you get the chance.
I mostly consume coffee at this rate. But, you know, that's one thing I will say. You will be, it's very busy. But I'm one of those people, if I don't keep going, always ask a busy person to get something done for you, because they will get it done quickly.
Absolutely.
Because they've loads of other things to do first.
Just part of the list.
Absolutely.
Is that the advice you'd have for, say, incoming first years, is to get involved?
I would say definitely get involved, but the one thing I do have to say is, from seeing other first years that I'm friends with and I know, you need to learn how to say no to people. Because when you get involved, like I am, I overworked myself so badly last year. It was a disaster. I overworked myself so much because I kept saying yes. And obviously there's so many opportunities that you're gonna have to say yes to, because they're like, you can't pass them up. But it's gonna get to a stage where you're like, oh my god, I have like 6 assignments due, but I also have to do all of this. Like, what am I gonna do? This is a disaster. I've used the word disaster a lot in this podcast, but I swear to God, I'm having a good time. I'm okay. But I will say, like, learn when to say yes. And learn when you need to say, actually, I don't think I can do that. Or I can do it, but I might need help. Like balance. Learning balance. That's something I definitely say to incoming first years, is get involved and study, obviously, do your work, but make sure you have a good balance between like your academics and your involvement in clubs and socs, because that line got very blurred for me last year, and it was like both for one. I don't recommend.
Which is difficult, but the Student Support and Development Office at DCU would be fantastic for advice like that, and it's free of charge to go and just get some assistance there. So even if you were struggling with that, there's support.
There's so many
for DCU
supports
students
here as well, which like a lot of people I know are very grateful for. And that's the one thing about DCU. Like I always say, like, we're a big community, one big happy family, and like, even I can knock on my lecturer's office door after a class and be like, listen, I literally feel like I'm about to collapse. I'm so tired. And they'll be like, okay, let's talk about it.
Like, help you out.
Doesn't even have to be about the class or anything. I'm literally just like, oh, how are you getting on? How's your dog
very
doing?
Approachable,
very
lovely kind
open
of student and lecturer relationship there. It's
very much open door policy, which is my buzzword.
Exactly. Alice, thank you so much for your time. It was so
problem.
nice to hear that you've had such a great time in DCU and the course and everything involved with clubs and society. So if you have any follow-up questions for Alice, she's on UniBuddy, which is a platform where you can chat to students free of charge. And if you'd like to ask the student recruitment office something, could be about admissions or fees or accommodation, you can find us at studenthelp@dcu.ie on email. So thank you, Alice, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks everyone for watching.